I'm going to go ahead and call to order the Board of Adjustments meeting for City of Wilmington. It's Thursday, January 15th, 2026. It's 1 o'clock. Before we get started, I'm going to read the Board of Adjustments introduction. Hearings before the Board of Adjustments are judicial in nature. Decisions for the Board are based on the records of these proceedings. To grant a variance requires a concurrent vote of 4/5 of the members of the Board. To reverse or modify the determination of an administrative official requires a simple majority. Evidence submitted to the Board for review becomes part of the record. Appeals of the Board's decision or to Superior Court are based on the record. Appeals must be filed within 30 days of the date of filing of the Board's order in the Planning Division. A hearing before the Board is conducted in accordance with the rules of procedure. Those who want to testify in a case are sworn as witnesses. The chairperson recognizes those who want to testify or their attorneys for presentation of evidence during the hearing. To ensure that all testimony is properly recorded, please come forward to address the Board. State your name, address, and please speak clearly. Before we go on, we'll go ahead and swear in anyone that's going to speak today. If you'd please rise to be sworn in.
If staff, applicants, and members of the public who wish to speak today will stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, we're going to change the order of our agenda based on a request for continuance. We're going to first take number 2, 4125 Echo Farms Boulevard. It's a variance to City Code Section 18-205, 18-319, and 18-344 for the development of 2 restaurants with drive-through facilities. Zach Smith, I guess there's not a presentation. They just a request for continuance.
Yeah, there's no presentation this afternoon. We're just requesting continuance to the February meeting.
Okay, to the February. Okay. To do that, I would need a motion from someone.
What is the date of the February meeting?
It is 19th, February 19th.
I make a motion that we continue item 2, 4125 Echo Farms Boulevard to the February 19th Board of Adjustment meeting.
Right, there's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That is continued. We'll move back up to item number 1, 420 North 3rd Street. Variance to City Code Section 18-43C, dimensional standards, and 18-44C, design standards to allow a shipping container to remain as built in a central business district. And is...
Yeah, Mr. Chair, staff is recommending this item be continued. If you recall from the last time this was heard, it was waiting for the applicant to submit a code amendment to address this issue. He has since that time submitted that amendment, so we're requesting this item be continued to the June meeting to allow that process to play out.
All right, and my understanding there is a presentation?
I believe the applicant, I think the applicant would like to address the Board, yes.
Yeah, sure.
Afternoon, gentlemen. Joseph Epkarian, 420 North 3rd Street, the Eagles Dare. Gentlemen, as already said, continuance of it. However, from our last meeting, words have meaning. You asked me to come back here, submit the text code amendment in this month, and then come back and back brief you all. And so that's why we're here today, and that's why I put this together real quick. Don't want to belabor it, take time, but I do want to tell you what I did and why I did it. So don't necessarily need to belabor it, though. I feel like we're old friends getting together and talking. But we've been going back and forth. We've had several meetings with zoning. And, from when we did the continuance and talked about, hey, I think we need to do a text code amendment update. From there, we had meetings with zoning. And then with zoning, we were talking about the grander scale of shipping container architectural code. And from zoning, from Catherine, the recommendation was, for lack of a better term, worry about me. And so that's where these code amendments have come from. I'm still of the opinion that I think that we need to address shipping container architecture in its own code section, but in terms of what was submitted at the beginning of this month is particular to what my desires are for my shipping container. There's overall 4 code amendments requested tied to 18 TAC 4.3 dimensional standards and 3 under 18 TAC 4.4 Charlie district-specific standards. The first one is 18 TAC 4.3 dimensional standards. It's the setback, the 5-foot setback that is required and that we originally had requested variance for. That's the specific code in our LDC. What I've requested is to add a third paragraph stating historical parcels already outside the standards requiring requesting further development shall be approved on a case-by-case basis. The justification for that is, in particular the Eagles Dare, we're already outside that because of the historical nature of the building, and putting the shipping container up there would be not in concurrence with current historical and the current build out of Eagles Dare. The request that it be a case-by-case basis is just that, to allow for people that are doing the right things for the right reasons to have it approved, and not create a scenario like the Wild West where people are just dropping shipping containers or doing whatever they want because they can. And so that's why I did it and submitted it as a case-by-case review basis. Next one is under 18 Tech 44 Charlie, is the building height. There's a whole section in the LDC. I didn't put that all in there, but as you all know, new construction builds have heights, requirements. Having a shipping container would be a variance. I know you gentlemen have dealt with it on multiple occasions with the different builds that have happened in the city. Requesting to add section G. If the building is a shipping container, single or stacked, a waiver may be granted. Again, this is all in the process now and working with zoning. I'm sure that there's verbiage and wordsmithing required, but basically some form of section stating that if it is a shipping container, it is approvable, as opposed to adding some faux frame around it to, in the eyes of our code, to be like, oh, that's the actual frame of the building. It's not, it's a shipping container. And I kind of put that in the justification. And that, again, having a waiver be granted, so it allows for people to have oversight and views on it, as opposed to, again, just someone willy-nilly doing something, Wild West scenario. The next one is under 18 Tech 44 Charlie, Section 9, Building Design, Paragraph 4, Subsection 2, Fenestration. This is the reference and the imagery that is that shows what talks about fenestration, having 50% of the facade facing the public street, Riverwalk. Again, this is about for a shipping container. What I would request to add is shipping containers may be granted a waiver based on design and use of structure. Specifically, the way in which the shipping container is oriented on the property. In this case for Eagles Dare, it's the narrow side facing. And would request that, there's some form to have that a waiverable thing, so it's not being a variance request. Purpose for that is, again, to do the right things for the right reasons. And in reference, we're already seeing it, and we're dealing with it in town. If you go to Cargo West, I'd be willing to bet, I think Soul Sushi doesn't necessarily like the idea that you can see right into their kitchen as you drive down their side street, but they made it happen because they adhered to that fenestration. Had they had the ability, had this code be there, I'm sure they would probably not like that. And in reference to Chowtown, I know there's a matter of their restrooms in one of the shipping containers, and the requirement to have a window into the restroom, again, is probably not the right answer. And adding some code in here that says, on a case-by-case basis, and may be granted a waiver. The final one is building design, Section 9, Paragraph G, and that's, prohibited materials, one of them, Section 4 being metal. The request would be to add Section 6. Shipping containers and their metal frames are permitted as long as the container is maintained and meets design standards of the CBD. Justification, again, is a shipping container is made of metal. And adding some form of whatever material on the outside of that, again, in the eyes of code may meet it, but end of the day, common sense, it's still metal, a metal framed building structure. And so again, adding something to allow for, to allow it to have its maintained and upkept metal frame should be allowed. Conclusion, gentlemen, again, like I said, I just wanted to come and show you what I submitted, why I submitted it, and in concurrence with the request for the continuance, and as we hopefully work and be part of the dialogue that develops this code amendment that ultimately goes forward. Perfect world scenario would be gaining y'all's endorsement in the hopes of, adding code to our LDC to address shipping container architecture, as well as, from my understanding, I think you all gentlemen deal with a lot of variances on shipping containers. I think at a certain point, it's pretty clear that we need to, address it in a way that's not just you all getting a bunch of variances. That is the completion of my presentation. Open for any questions or issues. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions?
Mr. Chairman.
Anyone?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir. Oh,
I don't know if this is hot. I would just remind you that before you is a request for continuance. These matters are the subject of a text amendment that will go through a process that will involve the Planning Commission. There would be a recommendation from the Planning Commission. Ultimately, it will go to council. There'll be interchange back and forth between staff. So really, that is what is before you today, is this request to continue.
okay. Yeah, and I know that we've talked about the continuance being in the April 16th meeting. Is that correct? Or is
It would be the June 18th
Oh,
meeting.
June, okay. All right. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir.
Yeah, forgive me, this is actually for the city, and I appreciate your presentation, sir. But is it really within the purview of our board to endorse or not endorse or suggest amendments to the proposed amendments? I'm just wondering if we...
No, sir.
Okay.
You sit in a quasi-judicial capacity to
Yeah.
hear the matters that come before you seeking variances as
Yeah.
specified in the
Yeah.
code and the statutes.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. We thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it. All right, we're going to move to item number 3.
Motion to
Oh,
continue.
yes.
Oh, we
Sorry.
got to move, yeah.
I'll make a motion to continue item 1, 420 North 3rd Street to the June 18th Board of Adjustment meeting.
It's been a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That is continued. Now we'll move on to item number 3. 1806 Montage Lane, a variance to Legacy City Code 18-204, urban mixed-use setback requirements, and section 18-308 to locate an in-ground swimming pool between the primary dwelling and the side street. And Tucker, you're doing the presentation?
Good afternoon, Chairman, members of the board. Today I'm presenting this case 1806 Montage Lane, variance request to section 18308, accessory structure location. The subject property is located with an area rezoned from R15 to UMX Conditional District effective March 7th, 2017. The property owner has not applied for building permits for the proposed single-family dwelling at this time. Subject property is part of the Airlie at Wrightsville Sound subdivision and contains a 5-foot utility easement and 15-foot private drainage easement along Montage Lane and Cook Creek Alley to the rear. As part of the conditional district's approval, all homes adjacent to Airlie Road shall be set back 30 feet as measured from the right-of-way as part of the streetscape enhancement. This does not apply to accessory structures. The UMX district outside the 1945 corporate limits is considered a commercial district, and swimming pools must comply with the minimum setback in the district in which they are located, which is 5 feet from the side and rear. Here we have a site plan showing approximately where the pool and deck will be. We see that it will meet these 5-foot setbacks. The location of the proposed swimming pool complies with the side and rear setbacks. Section 18308 of the Legacy Code stipulates that swimming pools shall not extend beyond the front facade of the principal structure and shall not extend beyond the side facade of the structure on the street side. The applicant has requested a variance to locate an in-ground swimming pool between the primary dwelling and a side street. On or about November 3rd, 2025, city staff accepted an application to locate an in-ground pool between the primary dwelling and side street. The matter is set for hearing before the Board of Adjustment today, January 15th, 2026. And I would like to submit the record presentation and materials into the record. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Tucker? All right. All right,
I believe our applicant is here with the presentation as
Okay.
well.
Great, thank you. All right.
Sorry about this. Yes.
Hi, my name is Anna Connect. I am with Grace Custom Homes. I am the general contractor for the homeowners. They are out of town this week, so I am speaking on their behalf.
Okay, and just for the record, if you state your legal address.
Oh, my personal legal address, the
Yeah.
office, it's 1843 Cricket Court, Wilmington.
Okay, thank you.
So our address that we're speaking of is 1806 Montage Lane. When you pull into Airlie at Wrightsville Sound, it is the first home on your right. So the side of this property is against Airlie Road. There are other homes in the neighborhood who face Airlie Road. There's only two that are, the sides are adjacent to Airlie. So a lot of this is just going to reiterate what Tucker already said, so I don't need to spend too much time on it, but the current setback, the zoning setback is 5 foot on the side. However, because of the conditional ordinance for the neighborhood of Airlie at Wrightsville Sound, the house itself cannot be more than 30 feet from the property line. However, for the accessory dwellings, what our intention is, well, the hope is to be able to place the pool up to the drainage easement. The problem here is that this code, section 18308, says that swimming pools cannot extend beyond the front facade of the principal structure. So that's really what we're dealing with more so than the setback issue. He showed this as well. The blue is showing where the pool would extend beyond the 30-foot Airlie conditional setback. And the yellow is where the deck itself would be extending. Where you see the pink dotted line there, that is the current drainage, private drainage easement. And then the green is the utility easement. So the 20-foot off of Airlie that we're requesting, or 10-foot into the 30-foot, does stay out of any of the private drainage easements in the area. And the reason behind this request in the first place is because the Airlie at Wrightsville Sound architectural design guidelines specifically say that including splash pools, unconditioned spaces, can be located in the 30-foot of what they call the landscape buffer. And the pools may not be located within 20 foot of Airlie Road due to the underground utilities. So we are abiding by the ARC guidelines, which I know is not, something that you're necessarily have to abide by, but the customers did purchase this lot under this pretense and developed our floor plan based on this pretense. And a couple other things I wanted to show. There's 3 different cases in this neighborhood that are lots either next door or very close to this home that I wanted to just point out, and it'll make more sense at the end when I come back to it. So the first one is 343 Airlie Road. It's 4 homes down from the subject property. It is facing Airlie Road. On this home, unfortunately, it was built with the front porch into that 30-foot setback. And a variance was granted for them in the front porch of this home to be 21 feet, almost 22 feet from the Airlie Road. So this is within the ordinance zoning. This was requested, or the zoning variance was requested after the home was built because it was a mistake, and I'm not sure the details of that, but this was kind of an after-the-fact grant. But it is only a few doors down, and the reason that we wanted to point this out is this is a front porch of the house, so the house itself is sticking forward. What we're requesting is a pool, which will be behind a privacy wall, which would be something that no one would be able to see. So it would be less intrusive than this house that's just a couple houses down. Another lot would be 337 Airlie Road, which is only 3 homes down. And this is just an example of a swimming pool being granted in the front of the yard, which is not typically allowed. So only, a couple houses down, someone else was able to put a pool in their front yard against Airlie. But again, it is behind a privacy screening, which ours would be as well. And then these are the next door neighbors to the homeowners on Montage. This is a much smaller issue, but their pool was slightly over the 5-foot zoning setback. And it was also asked for after the fact. And then also the fence here, or the gate, in my opinion, not the most safe thing in the world as far as someone climbing over it, but this was also granted after the fact. And so the reason the homeowners wanted me to show these 3 examples were to say that we have not pulled permits, we have not applied for any permits. We just have finished designing the plans, and they want to point out they're asking for permission as opposed to forgiveness, which has happened several times in the neighborhood. And the pool will be behind, the proper safety screenings, proper privacy walls, will not be intrusive to the eye of someone driving by or walking by because it will be hidden. And it is within the zoning setback. So, is any more questions?
Any questions? Anybody? All right.
Okay,
Thank you. All right. Does the city have anything to add before we go in to the?
No, sir, just here for questions if you have any.
Okay. Any questions for the city after the applicant's question? All right, we'll go ahead and go into the evidentiary hearing. We'll open up to non-parties that have any information.
Can I ask a question, City?
Oh,
real
yeah,
quick?
sure.
337 Airlie Road says that permission was granted for a pool in the front yard. Did that come before the Board of Adjustment? We see pool requests, with fair frequency, and I don't remember approving a variance for a pool in the front
I
yard.
am not familiar with that case either. We'd have to do some research as to what was done in that case. I will just remind the board that we're here to make the decision based on the evidence provided today at this hearing.
Right, I understand.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anything else? All right. We'll go ahead and go into the evidentiary hearing. This is open for non-parties to present any information that's substantive and relevant to this matter. Is there anyone that would like to speak? All right. We'll go ahead and close the evidentiary hearing. Does the applicant, do you have anything else you want to talk? Okay, thank you. Does the city have anything? All right. We'll go to, does any members have questions for the city or thoughts?
Well, I'd just like to say thank you for asking permission. Seems like every pool variance we get is forgiveness rather than permission, so thank you for that.
What would be the wishes of this group?
Well, and looking at the other homes in the neighborhood, the 4 properties that are close by really are kind of not relevant, but the fact that they are asking for permission and it is staying outside the utility easements and the buffers, and it is not extending beyond the front of the property. I think given the other homes in the neighborhood, I think it meets the 4 findings of fact, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. I believe that the applicant has shown evidence that they have attempted to abide by the other restrictions with the buffers and whatnot. In this case, the only solution that I could see would be shrinking down the size of the pool, which again may just negate the fact of even having a pool in general. I would also agree. I believe that this variance meets the 4 findings of fact. So I would like to make a motion to approve the variance as requested.
I would second that.
All right, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'm opposed, but it passes 4-1. All right, we'll move to new business. It's item 47625, Masonboro Sound Road. Variance to Legacy City Code Section 18-248 and 18-249 for a detached accessory dwelling to be located in front of the primary dwelling and to exceed the maximum gross floor area permitted in the R20 district. And you're presenting for, Brian's presenting for Grace today. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. The subject property is located at 7625 Masonboro Sound Road. It's currently zoned R20 Residential Legacy District, so it's subject to all the provisions of the previous code. It includes approximately 5.5 acres and is developed with a single-family home. The owner has proposed building a 2,327 square foot detached accessory structure containing a garage and an upstairs apartment that would be located between the existing home and the street frontage. This slide summarizes the code provisions that apply here. Section 248 of the Legacy Land Development Code limits the size of an accessory structure to 35% of the total heated square footage of the primary. 248 also requires detached accessory apartments to be located completely behind the plane of the rear facade. Section 18249 of the Legacy Code requires accessory buildings to be located behind the forwardmost projection of the principal structure, so the front side of the facade. And then 249 also permits one accessory structure in the front of a primary structure, an area where that development pattern exists. And that was put in specifically for parts of this area of town where you have accessory structures where a lot of these houses front the waterway as opposed to the street. A condition that is included as part of that is that the accessory building not exceed 1,000 square feet. So the applicant is requesting a variance to locate the accessory structure and apartment in front of the primary structure, and also requesting a variance to exceed the maximum gross floor area permitted in the R20 residential district. The board must consider the 4 findings of fact when making a determination on these requests. Staff would like to enter the case summary and this presentation into the record, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions for Brian? Anybody?
If I may, so yes, thank you for showing the map of the property. So is this yet another case where this accessory dwelling unit would be between what is supposed to be the primary dwelling and the
Yes.
a waterway of some or body of water?
The home is situated on the east side of the property, so it would be plan west on the plan you're looking at, or plan east that you're looking at. To the left of this screen would be where Masonboro Sound Road exists. To kind of give you a better context, this plan shows you where the street frontage is. So it would be between the primary structure and the road.
Can you go back to the page that shows what percentage? I think it was 2 slides. That's it. Thank you.
If I may, and forgive me, Troy, I don't want to jump on here. How big is the primary dwelling? I mean, is it?
The primary dwelling under the roof is 3620.
Oh, I see.
The heated square footage is 2350.
So it sounds like, I see also under accessory building, 2,327 square feet. That's the heated area as well, then?
That
Or
includes
do we know?
the 1,175 square foot accessory dwelling unit.
Yeah.
And then there's some unenclosed front porches
Oh, I
that are
see.
included, and then there's an attached garage that is also included in that number.
I see, so that wouldn't be heated.
Right.
Yeah.
So the ADU is limited to 35% or 1,200 square feet in the old code. It does satisfy the 1,200, but it's whichever is less. So the 35% limit would limit that further, and that's what they're requesting a variance from.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? No? Anybody?
But based on the exception to the code, they can, the ADU is permitted to be in front of the home, just not this large,
Right.
is that right?
The code speaks to an accessory structure being allowed to be between the primary and the road. It doesn't,
Right.
it's not specific to what type of structure. It just says that can't exceed 1,000 square feet.
Okay, thank you.
And that restriction for the ADU falls, because in other districts, it's 50% up to 1,200.
Right, this is all
Because
legacy
of
code.
legacy. Okay, that's
So
why.
we're
yeah.
trying to compare apples and oranges. We're going completely old code on this, and all the old code provisions still apply in the R20 legacy
I
district.
just had this panic in my head because I just told someone something else.
No.
So, good.
It is confusing. We do have legacy districts, and all those districts are subject to the old code.
Okay, good. All right. I'm glad we got that straight.
Yes,
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. Thank you. I'm sure we'll have other questions.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Ask if the owner, the applicant, or the agent for the applicant would like to speak.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. My name is Right Reverend Henry Nutt Parsley, Jr., owner of the property at 7625 Masonboro Sound Road, along with my wife, Rebecca. This is an unusual piece of property, and so we asked Cindy Wolf if she would be our consultant on this, and she's much more knowledgeable than I am about all these things. And so I'll turn you over to Ms. Wolf to make a presentation and answer questions, and I'm happy to answer some also after she speaks.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Again, my name's Cindy Wolf, and I'm here on behalf of the Parsleys. The residence, as he mentioned, is this site. It's located on a 5.7 acre tract of land and situated, typical as many other homes along Masonboro Sound Road. He put his house out on the eastward edge with the views of the water. The driveway is roughly 800 feet from its intersection with Masonboro Sound Road, the public right-of-way, all the way back to the home. And one of the issues that my client faces is exactly what you were just all asking questions about when he went to request or talk to the zoning department about whether he could do an accessory dwelling, how it all worked. We're caught up in that overlying R20 district, which became the legacy back in the 2022 Land Development Code adoption. And it's tough because these properties are resigned to an older set of ordinance provisions that were frozen in time back then, and they're often contrary to the current codes that have been updated to better regulate land use in this day and age. Another impediment for this property that, although the lot has been existing since 1949, it's been in the family much, much longer than that, is that when they designated the Masonboro Sound Road historic overlay, I'm not quite sure why, but they stopped a few lots north of Reverend Parsley's property, and his was not included. And that inclusion in that historic district is sort of part and parcel of today's regulations giving latitude on not only the size of the dwelling, or the accessory dwelling, or structures, or location of them. And that'll be a little more clear in a moment. So we believe that this tract's topography is definitely an impacting factor in the location of any structure within the property boundary. There is 20 foot of fall from Masonboro Sound Road to the traversing ditch. I guess the county's presentation system has a way that you can actually draw on the screen, which is handy sometimes. But basically, you can see from the left-hand side where Masonboro Sound Road is, it goes down about 20 feet where there is a creek bisecting the property. Then it goes up back a little bit to the rear of the property that is out by Masonboro Sound. But placement is also very particular, not only because of the floodplain that covers most of this tract, but also because of the conservation setbacks from all of those water sources, the creek, and everything else. So our request for you today is somewhat threefold. If you got down to the bare bones of it, it is please govern this piece of property and this request under today's rules and regulations. We feel like we meet all of those. There is certainly precedent of other properties just up the road that have had similar situations but are permitted just because they're in that historic district at this point. So first, the outmoded R20 ordinance limits the size of a detached accessory apartment to 35% of the total gross heated square footage of the single-family home, or 1,200 square feet, whichever is less. In this case, the current code provides for 50%. It is still it's still under 1,200 square feet in the calculation of the area of the primary residence to the area of this accessory dwelling. The proposal is for a single accessory building, which is where what this dwelling is in. It'll be detached from the accessory dwelling, and we ask the variance to allow that structure to meet that current criteria such that the building itself doesn't exceed 100% of the main building. The accessory dwelling does not exceed 50% of the main dwelling. Then the third aspect of this involves the location of the proposed building. That's the easy one. The R20 ordinance, like the Land Development Code currently, sought to position accessory apartments to the side or rear of primary homes. Likewise, the LDC mimics that requirement, but it provides the exemption specific to the Masonboro Sound Historic District with provisions which, again, we would totally meet. So this blow up of the situation shows that the accessory dwelling would be in front of the primary structure. However, the size of it, I'm showing that basically it is well under the 100% of the main structure's coverage and size. It is just 50% of the main structure's heated area, so it meets all of those criteria. And the depth of this track makes it unique and justified in the various requests also, we believe. This exhibit shows that the proposed building would be located over 300 feet away from the road frontage. The current requirement is at minimum of 200. The pictures show that there's heavy vegetation, so what I've done is I took the picture from Masonboro Sound Road down 140 feet. You can see that dot. Then that's where it curves, so I went down to that point and took another picture down to the 260-foot point. That's where the ditch crosses. And you can see that then the drive curves again. So in this scenario, at the point of the ditch, which you're seeing on the right-hand side, there are wetlands along that ditch. So there is no clearing of any of the existing vegetation or filling or digging along that ditch that would be allowed to occur in the future. And the whole point is, I believe that the priority of not putting accessory buildings in front of primary structures is the aesthetics from the street. So at no point would anyone driving along Masonboro Sound Road ever see the proposed accessory building. So we do believe that there are hardships here. The hardship resulting from strict application of the old R20 ordinance would certainly result from, is particular to this property being a very large piece of property and having that severe topographic physical characteristic. It has a built-in protection of what the code is trying to enforce, is what we believe. The subject lot has existed for many years. The principal home location is at the far extent of the lot, which is typical of many of the other homes on Masonboro Sound Road. Hence, the location of an accessory dwelling is extremely limited. It can only be between the house and the road. This parcel is every bit as historic as other lands that were overlaid by the Historic District 10 years ago and provide current exemptions. Why this property wasn't included, we have no idea. But we believe that the whole intent here is to maximize preservation of the tract character in the existing vegetation, and that's why the request is to put it on the opposite side of the creek and well beyond the vegetation that would always remain. We believe that the variance would be consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of the ordinance. There's nothing in the proposal that would be adverse to the public safety. The location of the accessory dwelling would not be contrary to the code purpose of enhancing aesthetics along road corridors. And certainly, substantial justice can be achieved for Mr. Parsley and his family by allowing the proposed plan as designed. It would present a reasonable consideration of the character of the city's various neighborhoods and suitability for particular areas of land use. And it's balanced against the necessary protection of adjacent property owners, because again, adjacent property owners would have no visibility of this no matter where it's located. I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Anybody have any questions for Ms. Wolf? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Ms. Wolf. That's an extremely cogent and clear presentation, and forgive me if I'm a little slow then. And I appreciate the topographical maps. Here's one map of where we'll be, then there's the topographical map. I guess my only question/concern is, so yes, when we're looking at that, the ADU then would be for want of a better way of putting it, slightly to the left here towards the road and above that sort of creek ditch?
No,
Or where?
it is beyond.
Oh, so it's a little
So,
closer to the existing dwelling
You come
then?
down the hill, you see the two
Yes.
threes,
Right.
about a third of the way back.
Where the water course is, yeah.
And then you come and there is the 10 and
Oh,
12.
in that area of the.
That is
Right, I'm sorry.
exactly where it is.
Perfect.
If you twist this
Thank
a
you for
little bit.
clarifying. Yeah, sorry.
The creek is to the left-hand side of this exhibit.
I have that now. Thank you, ma'am.
Anybody else? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Does the city have anything additional to follow up? All right, I'll go ahead and open up the evidentiary hearing, as this is for non-parties that have any information relevant to this. Is there anyone that would like to speak related to this matter? All right, we'll go ahead and close the evidentiary hearing. All right, does anyone have any questions? I'll first ask, does the applicant or Ms. Wolf, anything else? City, anything else?
No, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so open it up for discussion and your thoughts. Yes? Oh, yes, sure.
I think Ms. Wolf covered it beautifully, but I did want to add one thing, which is because of the setbacks along the creek, there are actually two creeks. There's this drainage ditch creek under the road, and then all along the northern side of the property is Parsley Creek, which runs out into the waterway. Because of the setbacks, we're pretty limited in space to build anything on this property. They're very small spaces that would allow for buildings. That's why we chose an ADU for our son and his wife, because it's small and it doesn't intrude and it fits in the setbacks. Otherwise, it's difficult to add anything. So just so you'll understand the rationale behind that. And I'll be glad to answer questions if there are any.
Anyone have any questions, Mr. Parsley? All right, thank you, sir, we appreciate that. All right, anybody, we'll open it up, discussion, thoughts about how to proceed. We have two variances. We can take them separate or together, whatever you prefer.
I don't know. I think we could probably take them both at the same time.
Yep. Anyone that has a motion or discussion?
All right, well, for the reasons presented, I do believe that the variance requested meets the four findings of fact. I do believe that due to the topography and the legacy zoning, it makes this sort of a unique situation. I feel like the applicant is doing what they can to place this ADU in an area where it's allowed and would be allowed under different zoning, or not zoning rather, but a more current zoning. My motion would be to approve the variance as requested.
All right, there is a motion to approve the variance as requested. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, there's been second. All right, since it's been second, I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? That passes. Thank you. All right. We will move on to other business. We are required to elect a chair and a vice chair at this meeting. I guess any input from the city on direction?
You would need to open the floor to nominations.
Okay. All right. We'll go ahead and we'll do that with the people here. We'll go ahead and open the floor. Does anyone want to be chair or vice chair?
Is Chairman Hovis allowed to continue on as chair?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that Jeff Hovis remain as chair of the Board of Adjustment.
I'd like to second that motion.
All right, there's been a motion and it's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 I'll abstain, but we'll give, thank you. I guess I'll ask the same question. Can Commissioner Moore continue his, if no one else wants to to try that position?
Yes.
All right. It should be noted, my term will end in August, so that's why you'll have another situation then. But, all right. There's been a motion. I made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All right. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
No, there you go. And all right, so we'll move forward on that. Is there anything else for today?
Nothing from staff, thanks.
All right. Anyone have anything else? All right. All right. That being the case, we'll adjourn. Thank you.